W legends Jerry Lynn and Mikey Whipwreck. Now, let's welcome your host, Mike Freeman.
Hey, welcome everybody to another edition of Front Row Material. Of course, this is not Mike Freeland. He had some stuff coming up, so I am the Rit, and I will be hosting Front Row Material tonight. And man, we have one hell of a guest coming on tonight. He's graced us with his presence before. Now he's going to be taking time out of his schedule once again to grace us with his presence and indulge us in his professional wrestling career. And let's bring him in right now, Mr. PCO.
Hello. How are
Hello,
you?
sir. All right, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, great. Awesome. Feeling great.
So, want to thank you for coming on again tonight and giving us some of your time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
So, man, your career is still going and it's going strong, and it seems like you just keep getting better each and every year that you're out there on the independent scene, Ring of Honor, and now in Impact Wrestling.
I hope so because I'm putting the work in. Like I'm trying to get better. That's the goal. Like every day I get up, get to the ring, go to the gym, and then trying to, just do more things and be more effective and more accurate and just being a better wrestler, just keep improving.
Yeah, Ring of Honor, that was a big shock to everybody. Uh, so, what did you think about the announcement of the doors closing and then redoing, revamping things?
First of all, I kind of felt that something was wrong because, usually they would always come up to me during the summer, June, July for renegotiating. Well, the first year I signed 1 year and then I re-signed for 2 years, but it was just a different pattern where I was watching guy coming in and not getting a contract and getting titles or being part of the one of the biggest faction, and no one was under contract. So I felt like okay, there's something is happening with Ring of Honor right now, and we rolled during the pandemic different than a lot of other companies where they decided to go mostly south and having fans, and we stayed in Baltimore with the athletic commission, the CDC guideline, and we were very protective. And I think in the long run, it came back to haunt us in a way where we lost tractions of our fans. They kind of got discouraged the fact that we didn't have no fans, no reactions. You can have the best match in the world, but if you look at a match with Rock and Hogan in Toronto, which is a so-so match. It's a great match because of the fans' reaction. It's probably one of the greatest matches of all time because of the fans. So you take the
Exactly.
fans out of the equation, your best match ever can be just a match on the card. So I think that was a huge problem. Uh, that's only my opinion, though. And I could see that something was coming. I could never, in my imagination, I thought, okay, what they're gonna do now, they're gonna go low budget without. That's before they said they were gonna close down for 4 months. They're
Hmm.
gonna go low budget, use a lot of new talent, guys from the dojo. They're gonna become a real company that develop talent. And they're not aspiring for a Stanley Cup or a Super Bowl anymore. Now they're rebuilding, a little bit like the Montreal Canadiens right now. We let go all our biggest stars and we keep the prospects, and that's how they proceed. And they they're gonna restart in April, which is that's a great news. I'm so happy for them, but so happy for the wrestling business itself. Creating more jobs, even though they're not gonna be. you know, as lucrative as they were before, probably, it's still going to create jobs and it's going to showcase good talent and it's going to put a show on TV. And that's it. Just for that, I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful for the 3 years that I've wrestled for them. But I could see it coming, you know, if something was going to change or something was going to give or something was going to be different.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, it was the indies were starting to catch fire. Yeah, NWA was getting really hot. Impact was really hot. MLW. The pandemic hit and everything kind of simmered down because of the CDC guidelines. Like you said, no fans.
Yeah.
What was it like going out there? Did you get to wrestle during the pandemic to where there was no fans at all?
I wrestled full time with no fans. I had like probably, I don't know how many matches. I had many matches with no fans at all. And I never let, no, I always kept my foot on the gas pedal and I always performed like it was 10,000 or 20,000 fans. You know, I always put my all-time best efforts in every matches. So, uh, but it was just tougher mentally, but we were professionals, you know, like every one of them, the whole roster, everybody, creative or executives, everybody was so professional that we did treat it as it was like it was sold out. So we we perform. We weren't lazy or weren't trying to cut the, you know, some corners. You know, we really gave it all. So uh, just my hat to everyone there. Like they work so hard. Everybody works so hard. You know. But
Yeah,
it was tough. It was tough. It was tough because you don't get the feedback. You don't get the reaction. You don't feed off the crowd. It was just harder, you know.
so how do you sit there and go about putting a match together, where you don't know exactly where it's going because you don't have that feedback?
That's it. It's hard. It's, you know, it becomes more of a chore. It's more a choreography than it is a wrestling match. You know, it's more of a dance. You know, it's tough because you try to anticipate how the fan will react watching the show on TV. That, that's the only gauge you have, you know, to decide what you're gonna put on and go on with. You know, you try to imagine in your mind the people watching it on TV. How will they respond to that? And that's how you make up your match.
Yeah, and to go back and think that WrestleMania, the show of shows, there was no fans there, you know, and that was kind of something that I felt was stolen from some of the, like a Drew McIntyre. He was waiting for that WrestleMania moment, and there's no fans there to celebrate his moment that he's supposed to have.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, when I won the world title with fans, and then by the by the time I dropped the title, I mean, it was no point keeping it. You know,
Hmm.
uh, it was not the same as prestigious. You know, so not that was no point because you have to still like perform and roll like it's full, but you know, like you said, you know, it's a little bit like you feel like it's under the radar, you know. So that's how it makes you feel. But being professional, you don't let that affect you. You still perform, but at the end result is what you said. That's the end result. That's it.
Yeah, and then seeing promotions, they tried to substitute, not having fans by having, fellow locker room members around the outside. WWE went and piped in uh, noise and fans and before they did the Thunderdome, but it just wasn't the same because there's this different reaction, the passion the fans have that brings to a match can't compare to piped in noise or your fellow peers around the ring.
They're still piping noise now with people. So they became the expert on piping noise. They learned a lot of tricks, but I don't think it gives any more justice to the show. I don't think it enhanced the show. To me, it takes away from the show. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, I think the one who did better there, it's the one who, like GCW, who they kept on running with crowds.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look back, nobody died.
Yeah. So I think either I froze or you maybe froze. Having some small technical difficulties here. Hmm. Well, we have been some technical difficulties. We're bringing him right back in when we're able to. But man, we're here Tuesday night. We have FRM Pod here. I'm back. Here we go.
Back.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah. Can you edit that or it's live?
Oh no. It's live, but hey, front row material when Jerry and Mikey were on, and we always had some sort of technical difficulty. So that's our technical difficulty for the show.
Yeah, that's yeah. Welcome the new technologies. Yeah.
The more advanced we get, the further behind we get.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
So, but
hopefully it's gonna be the last time.
So at Ring of Honor, you said you've seen the writing on the walls of something happening there. What was the locker room atmosphere like at Final Battle, the last show that they did?
Well, nobody put it over. Like during every show, the I wasn't there because when I started writing on the wall, I gave my notice to
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Honor because I didn't know. I said to myself, I can't continue to work where I don't know where the boat is going. So I sent out a notice. So I finished the show before. Finished on November 30th, and the final battle was December 12th or something like that. But up until then, like morale was good. I think guys were still expecting things to happen, or they were expecting something to pop out, or whatever. So, but everybody kept their pretty much everything to themselves. Nobody were disgusting loud, the fact that, hey, what's going on? Do you have a contract? Do you have a contract? Like nobody was like, do you have something for next year? Have they talked to you for next year? So nobody was talking to nobody. So it was like a big secret. It was like a huge big secret, and everybody was acting like everything was going all right. So that's that's how I felt. That's my feeling from the whole thing. Everybody was, I guess, expecting that things were, because there was a lot of saying, like, we're gonna have like the, more budget. It's gonna be Be we're gonna have more budget coming soon, so people were expecting that, especially all the guys that were kind of getting signed, but on a per night basis and not on a contract, and they were hoping for their contract. So I guess the other one that were regular with the company were thinking the same thing. Maybe they're gonna sign everyone at the same time. So was a big shocking surprise when they said we're taking a 4 months break.
Yeah, and as they say, when one door closes, another one opens, and now you found a home in Impact Wrestling. So with your experience and your wisdom with a young locker room like Impact has, uh, there's a lot of talent there. Do any of them look up to you and try to pick your brain all the time?
Well, there's a lot of veteran in that locker room. There's a lot of also producers with a lot of experience. So, you know, I can bring my 2 cents, but you got so many guys, that that are veterans there. Lance Storm just came back for
Hmm.
the last TV tapings. He's just one of them, but each and every one of them are like super knowledgeable. They know the business. Whether it's D'Lo Brown, Gail Kim, uh, goes on and on and on. You got so many guys. Tommy Dreamer, you know, Rhino, Chris Sabin. Uh,
Petey Williams.
so I don't see him there. I haven't seen him that much. You've
Mm.
seen PD there? I haven't
Uh,
seen him that much. Not as a producer.
oh,
I don't
when
think
he was,
so.
I'd say when he was on our podcast, he might have not be in the same role as he was a couple months ago.
Yeah, he's probably doing like some bits and pieces for sure. Uh, but I haven't met him since I'm there.
So,
But
uh,
uh,
uh
but Eric
yeah,
Young. I mean, there's so many. There's a lot of veterans, and Sean Morrissey, Moose. There's some young guys. There's a bunch of young guys like Mike Bailey's and Ace Austin and many others and Hammond Fulton and plenty of them. Like I think the mix is super awesome, super awesome mix. I think right now it's one of the best roster ever for Impact. Like we're always trending on Twitter. The the ratings are way up, so everything is going to the good direction right now. Everything we do touch, turns into gold right now.
yeah. I love the storyline that they have where they brought you guys in. Was that always planned, or was that something that they tried on the do spontaneously?
Now, I think that one great thing about this company is like everybody knows how to keep a secret. So it was planned, but not a word came out until the night that it was revealed. So, which is good because I knew it like at least a month before I started. So it was yeah, it was excellent.
So, being in the Impact, compare that locker room to other locker rooms that you have been in. You know, is it more? Is it like a family? Like I heard Ring of Honor has been, or was it more like?
Yeah. Oh, that's hard to say comparing a locker room because you know what changes all the odds and that one thing that changed everything, it's your own self. depending on how you feel or where you are in your life. If you're a young, cocky, whatever, whatever I could say, describe, let's say myself 15, 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is not the ideal locker room. But if I'm laid back, uh, get along good with everybody, try not to judge no one on whoever they are or whatever they do, and try to, deal with most of the qualities of everybody has, well, I'm going to tell you it's an excellent dressing room. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm-hmm.
just starts from you. It's not the other way around. It's not the dressing room that is shitty. It's how you perceive the dressing room. And my perception of this dressing room is awesome. I mean, I've great relationship with everybody, but I'm not an asshole either. So, you know, so it goes both ways, you know. You can say it's a shitty dressing room if you have a shitty attitude. Of course, it's going to be a shitty dressing room. So it's not a question of being in 1990 or being in 2000 or in 2020. It it all starts from you. You know, you're the center for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you're the center of the dressing room, but from your standpoint, you're in the center of everything from where you are yourself. Everybody's the center of their own dressing room. So everybody has a different perception. My perception with Ring of Honor was an awesome dressing room. And my perception with Impact is extremely good. You know, I like the vibe. I like the way everything is run. I think they're really professional. I think they're really organized. They got great flights. They got super nice hotels. Uh, I think since Anthem jumped in with them, Anthem is super big company, and I think everything is very, very professional. I'm very proud to be there, and I'm very proud to be part of that roster and that organization.
Yeah, and Impact has a lot of great talent. Who would you like to step in the ring with if you had the opportunity to at Impact Wrestling?
Well, Jonah, who was with
Mm-hmm.
NXT,
Yep.
he's a great talent. I think there's a lot of money to be made between PCO and him. The monster that never wants to die and that always comes back, and the other huge monster, super strong power lifter, great worker, and so I think that's a good feud there. Uh, of course, Moose is my main target. I think the world title is something that I'm looking at for sure. And there's yeah, I'd say Jonah, uh, Josh Alexander if he comes back. Uh, that's another great target. Uh, Moves for sure for the title. I'd like to get a shot at the title, and I'd like to win that title and just create something special. Sean Morrissey is another, formerly known as Cass, another great talent. Uh, and you have a bunch of guys that are super talented. Uh, so I'm a big believer in when things are happening organically that you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily choose or pick one. Let the people be involved and let the people want something that they will like. So when the people are asking for it, it becomes organic, and I think that's where success is.
Yeah, that is one thing I noticed with Impact Wrestling. They actually listen to the fans, and when the fans say they want something, they deliver, and they give them that opportunity to see that. I would love personally to see you and Moose, go head to head for that title, and make that money right there.
Yeah, yeah, that's always the goal. You always want to, you know, bring money to the company and draw money and draw good ratings, and you want to do good for the company that you work for, and you want to be valuable for them. So I think it'd be money right there, because I feel like even though we're we're doing fantastic as Honor No More.
And it looks like we might be having a technical difficulty again. Once again, I apologize. Of course, since Freeland's not here, I'll take full blame for it unless it's him working his magic. But hey, Jersey Devil, I'll sit there and get to your question here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So like I was saying, I think it's better when it comes when you're valuable to the company, and then you bring your money worth it. You bring that back in ratings and then buy rates and interest for a match that people are invested in.
Well, PCO, there's a fan has a question here. We're all familiar with your partnership with Jacques Rougeau over the years. What was your relationship, if any, with Raymond? And do you want to know if there's any good Raymond Rougeau stories?
Yeah, Raymond's like one of my best friends. I kept in touch. We're not friends like in a way where we see each other every week, because we live far apart from each other. But let's say every Christmas sends me a text, or once in a while sends me a text. When he became the mayor of the city, I sent him a text to congratulate him. He gave me a lot of advices in the real estate world, where I got involved at one point. I'm still involved very much in the real estate, and it's all because of Raymond. He was a good mentor to me. Uh, what to do with my money and how to spend it, like and then, in a smart way, and just how to act, on the road, and how to be honorable, and to be proud and things like that. And uh, I think he's just a guy who's really, really fair. One time we are traveling together, he was doing the voiceovers, not the voiceovers, but the live commentary, in the ring. Like he was asking, let's say, Brett some questions, for different matches. And I think it was for Bret Hart at that point. And so he said, "Do you want to travel? I got a car," and things like that. So we traveled together from town to town with the TV tapings, and then he's so he's so fair and so just. So we're ordering like some food, and he's like, "We're gonna split that half and half." And I said, "All right, no problem." And let's say it comes to I don't know, 43.94 or something like that. Well, I'm like, I say, "Great, just chip me a 20, I'll take care of the rest. And he was like, all the way to the pennies, half and half. So, so that's a great one where, you know, coming from Arnold, take care of the pennies and the dollar will take care of themselves. So I've learned that lesson with Ray. He's really fair and he won't grab an extra $2. He's very how can I say that? Very, very loyal and honorable. Another example would be I see him one time. I'm going for a Ring of Honor. He's going for WWE. So we decide to get a breakfast together uh, at the airport in Montreal. And so he pays for his, I pay for mine. I say, Ray, do you want my receipt so you can put it in your expenses? You know, like
Hmm.
a lot of people would do. And he says, no, I just put the real receipt in my expenses. So you can't have a guy like more straight as an arrow than Ray Rougeau. He wouldn't steal one penny from Vince, like he's and from me and from you, he's
Hmm.
really, really that great, and I had the chance also to go to some TV tapings in New York with his own plane.
Hmm.
And I did a few press conference where he was driving his own plane, and I wasn't on board. And he was like, he's a real good like pilot. And so I've been in his airplane, his own airplane, like quite a few times, and that was awesome. And I saw him did some uh, diving with a parachute, so. Landing on let's say third base on a baseball field during a softball game. So pretty, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. But he's a good fighter as well. I don't have any stories in mind, but he really he won't stand back, from anybody. He will go up front and he'll go to a fight with anyone. He's super proud. So yeah, so basically, sorry, but it's a bunch of qualities that I have to say about him. I mean, he's been nothing but good to me. So I kept a good relationship with him, and I'm very proud of that. That's something that makes me proud to have a friend who's such straightforward, a lot of honor and loyalty like that. So very, very nice person.
Yeah, it's hard to find that in an ideal friend. Loyal, trustworthy, honesty. Those are all qualities that I look for in a friend, and you've found it in
and
Raymond.
it inspired me to become like that, because I say that you need a lot of discipline, you need a lot of uh, you know a lot of you need to be like totally different from a lot of other people, and it's very inspiring. It's a model, it's a mentor, and it's a good one. Sometimes you can be deceived by a mentor. So sometimes you can think, oh, this guy is a mentor, or he's a good model for me, and then you see a little thing, a little action, and then you get like, oh, that's kind of, you know, not what I expected from someone like him. But I was never deceived by Ray in his action. So I know why Vince liked him that much.
Yeah, and it's something that you've seen in him, and then you could pass it on to the next person and show them, and have them learn the same traits that you learned from him.
And also, it shows that the wrestling business doesn't just produce bums and people with no class or heavy drinkers or drug abuse or name it.
Hmm.
The business got it's got a bad rep, But guys like that, you know, and I'm trying to follow the footstep, you know, we're trying to make this business look the best that it could be, it could look, you know, and I think that's a real plus for the wrestling business. Guys like him.
Yeah, I always said to say if you take care of the wrestling business will end up taking care of you also.
I hope so, and I believe so, you know. But you're the first one who brought it up, and I'm going to keep it now. I'm going to put it in my book, and I'm going to, because I like to read my notes sometimes and go over, you know, good principles and good quotes. And that's a hella good one that you came up with. That I was thinking, I'm super amazed by the fact that you came up with that, and it totally makes sense.
Hey, I appreciate that. You can use it anytime you want. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So, what are some future plans you have? I know last month you wrestled really close to me at PPW.
Yeah.
So where else can we sit there and see you? What else is on your menu for the next
Oh,
upcoming year?
I'm all over the place. I do. I'm gonna do not the next one, the following one in June. Pro Wrestling USA with Frank Goodman. I'm gonna do. I was supposed to do Joe Rogers in Pittsburgh, but I had to cancel because it was during a TV taping with Impact. I have Prestige in LA coming up on the next Saturday. I've got, I don't know, I would have to look at my bookings. I'm doing like 2 to 3 dates per week. So I'm all over the place, you know. I'm trying to get as many days as I can. I mean, for me, like 3 to 4, four, it's a bit too much because I have a 13-year-old daughter. But 3 shows a week, 2 to 3 shows a week, that's a good standard for me, and keeps me, you know, in the game, and keeps me like seeing different things from different places. And I'm a big fan of observing what's going on in the business, and not just from social medias or TV, but also like to be on live shows and seeing different areas and different promotions and the way that people do things. And I look at it like that too, you know, like when I first signed with WWE 1993 and I got signed up, I had a bad attitude, and I thought, you know, now that I made it to the big time, I'll never go back to indie wrestling. You know, it's a small time, it's whatever, a waste of time or this and that. Then I grew up, and I grew up, and now I was watching a singer like Johnny Cash, you know,
Hmm.
where you could see him sing in front of 100,000 people, but you couldn't see him sing in front of 250 people. And now my mentality is if you're really passionate about the business and if you're a true, real pro wrestler in your spirit and in your soul, uh, it's not the amount of people that counts, but it's like being passionate about what you do and really showing that passion. Where when it's a point where okay, you need to wrestle to get like some sort of money because you can't eat, that's a
Hmm.
different story because now I kind of feel sorry for you because there's something that you did wrong with your money or you there's something that was missing and I look at it in a way where that's kind of sad that you still have to go on and wrestle and put on a show just because you need the next meal. But if you do it like I do, because you have goals and you have all the money in the world to be happy and to retire, but you're still doing it. When I say all the money in the world, I don't want to say I'm a billionaire, but
Hmm.
I have enough to stop wrestling, you know. But for me, I haven't achieved my childhood goal. You know, when I was
Mm-hmm.
a child, I had goals. And for me, when you want to achieve those goals, you got to go outside of your uh, comfort zone. And you hear that all the time. Outside of the comfort zone is so many things. It's also the passion that you have for an indie show. It's also traveling like crazy. And don't get me wrong, I'm getting paid good money for my indie appearance. You know, the money's always good. You know, but it's also the passion and paying the dues. You know, in a way. But it's not paying the dues because I like what I do. But sometimes you end up instead of being in a Sheraton or Marriott, it's Motel 6, you know. So it's the passion, it's paying the dues, but it's also showing the passion for the business. And a little bit like Johnny Cash, that's one of the examples that I like to compare, but there's many other singers like that they didn't always sing in front of 50,000 people, you know, that they had like uh, uh, places in their career where they had to, you know, they wanted to uh, wrestle with, you know, or sing with smaller crowds because it was intimacy, because it was whatever it was for whatever reason it was. And for me, um, I feel unachieved, and that's the only reason that kept me going. You know, I want to achieve what I had set for goals, and that puts a lot of pressure because if you ask anyone, when you're put in a position, a money position, when you're put on the main event, when you have to you know close up the show, and you're put on the many different great position that you always dream of doing, you have that comfort zone. It's not there. You don't have that protection net under you. You know, you're
Mm-hmm.
by yourself. You need to trust yourself. You have to have full confidence in what you can achieve and believe that you can achieve what you wanted to achieve. And just that itself, my my hat off to Rock, to Austin, to John Cena, to Hogan, to all the guys that had been there, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
that for me that's super important because those guys, you know, they did it and they had tons of pressure and they still went for it. They didn't say, "Oh, that's too much pressure. I'm going to stay home." Or, and I think that's one of the reasons where a lot of guys get pilled up or drunk because the pressure is so high that you decide to auto eliminate yourself unconsciously. It's not even a conscious thinking. It's so much out of your comfort zone. It's so hard to handle and to face it and to go for it and to face the outcome, no matter what it is, if it's going to be good or bad, that you fuck your own self up saying, "Oh, but he was caught, you know, drunk in a bar, or he did some coke, or he was not there on time, or he missed a flight." No, you didn't do it on purpose. It was totally unconscious. You were unconscious of it because of what it demands of you. And that happens to a lot of hockey players, baseball players, football players, guys that are put in position with so much stress that they fuck up just because they don't even know why they do it, but they do it because that's the reason behind. That's what I do believe.
Yeah. You touched base about the indies. I've been to WWE live shows, and they're good, but I get more of a connection at an indie show. And I'm kind of curious what it's like on your end, wrestling in front of 50, 60,000 people, where you hear the crowd, but then at an indie show, 500, 600 people, and you get to actually interact with the fans. How is that for you?
No, that's great, but nothing's gonna top 70,000, 80,000 people to a forum or sold out MSG. Nothing's gonna top that as far as adrenaline. You know, you're going back to your hotel room, you can't sleep for 2 days. You're so high up, you know, and you haven't touched any drugs, you know. It's just the way it is. Uh, but but the fact that you can connect with the fans on a indie show, that's awesome because you got a straight feedback, you know. Oh, I remember when you did that move. I remember your match with Brett. I remember when you did this. I remember your Ring of Honor title when you almost killed yourself because you slid on the car and you almost got knifed up, you know. So that feedback is also good, and you can tell in their face, you know, when they get a photo from you or they get to talk to you, you feel that energy where it's priceless to the fans, and it becomes priceless to me as well because you can't you can't have a one-way direction. It's
Hmm.
like if the electricity makes the ampule makes light, well, the light is gonna also gives you electricity. It works both ways, you know. I mean, it's that's what's so good about it. It's like when someone's happy, it makes you happy. So I really enjoyed that part on the indies.
So PCO, there's a question that I love to ask. And I ask to all the guests. Okay? I hope you're ready for the SATs. Hot tub time machine. If you can go back to in wrestling history
Yeah.
to any match, take somebody out and put yourself in that match, what match would it be and why?
Oh yeah, of course. I got a few, but the one that comes to my mind it's Rock, Rock and Hogan in Toronto for WrestleMania. Um,
Okay?
just because I'm so much about the atmosphere and telling a story, and this is something that I'd like to live myself. So that's why I'm saying that one. Uh, but but there's a bunch of other ones, you know. But that's probably the one that pops my mind right now.
So, we had one question from the fans. He actually is from Canada. He wants to know if you have any Canadian shows coming up on your card.
Well, it's tough, you know. I just did a tour in Calgary. I did 3 shows about 2 weeks ago. Uh, Most of the shows were canceled because of the pandemic. Canada was very different than the US. So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a show on March 25th for C4 in Ottawa. I've had to cancel both shows, 2 shows with the Man Lucha in Toronto. Right now they're started rebooking. I think the first one I might do C4, but maybe in April. So I'm gonna see. The Canadian dates are really hard to know what's coming up next because it's clearing out. It's getting better with the pandemic, but they basically had every restaurant, bar, and entertainment closed for 2 years straight.
Yeah. So, PCO, I want to thank you for coming back on again. As my good buddy Mike Freeland says, is there any way we could get you back on sometime for a part three?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I hope to have Mike with you or you two together to interact, and I'm always open for it. I'm very very happy and had a blast, and hopefully I'll see you with Mike soon. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
open. Part
hey,
three for sure.
I definitely apologize. Him being a school teacher, he had the report cards, the parent teacher conferences tonight, and he's like, "Hey, I need a favor," and well, you can't tell the boss no.
That's awesome. No problem. You did great.
So, hey, PCO, do you want to tell anybody where they can find you on social media, your merchandise?
Yeah, my merchandising, pro wrestling tees. I got tons of T-shirts with them. Twitter, PCO's Not Human. Facebook, same thing. Instagram, PCO's Not Human. And yeah, basically everywhere, even TikTok, PCO's Not Human, all over the place. And yeah, you'll have access to my videos, my thoughts, my workouts, all kinds of stuff. And also, one who's very important to me is my YouTube page. Subscribe, ring the bell, and it's PCO Pierre Carl Wallet. So yeah, that's basically that's all the place you can reach out with me.
Hey, we're definitely make sure we plug all your places, especially your YouTube page, and help you any way we can.
Thank you so much. You always do, and I really appreciate Mike a lot. I got to build a good relationship with him, so send him my regards and tell him I was very happy to be part of the show with you. And I think you're a good, probably, I don't think you're hiding it, but you're a fan there. I can see the wrestling fan in you.
It's always funny. Mike always sits there and has these, hey, I got to do something to when I have to interview people by myself. I've had Ken Shamrock by myself. Yeah, it's like, there's that little bit of the fan there, but you got to keep it professional.
Yeah, no, that's nice. You did good. So I'm very happy. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for stopping by, PCO, and we will see you next time then.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Man, there we have it. PCO Part 2. Freeland, what do you do to me every time? So, but man, I love sitting down talking to everybody and just talking to them like they're people, because that's what they are. Hear their stories. Jersey Devil, great question. But I hope you got some dates written down where he's coming to Canada. So guys, what we're doing is going to take a little break, and when we come back, well, we have panel time. So guys, yes, we're doing the panel tonight. So guys, let's take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to bring on the panel. And welcome back from our famous commercial brought to you by Mikey Whipwreck. So guys, it's going to be panel time here soon. And well, first up, we're going to introduce him. He is one half of the Canadian Connection. He is a Canadian god. He is Mr. Butt.
Hello.
What's going on, Butt? Been a long time. How you been?
I've been all right. Got some minor truck issues going on, so I'm in the market for a new one. But outside of that, life is good. How about yourself?
Things are probably getting back on track a little bit here. Freeland waits till 6 o'clock at night to tell me, hey, I need a huge favor from you. I need you to come back and host the show. He has school projects, that he has to deal with. So I'm like, well, you've held down the fort while I had my personal issues, and well, it's time to me to repay the favor.
Nice. Well, it's good to have you back.
Well, thank you. Oh, look, we got a comment.
Well, this should be interesting.
Jersey Devil says junket at this point.
Well, the problem is, Jersey Devil, I still owe $61,000 on the truck. I mean, it is a 2021 after all.
And you're having problems with it?
Oh yeah, it's been in the shop. I think today is either 14th or 15th time it's been in the shop. I've had it 12 months.
Is it still under the miles?
Oh yeah, I've got less than 10,000 kilometers on it. So it's like, I don't know, like maybe 8,000 miles. Oh yeah, I got plenty of warranty on it. They just don't know what's wrong with it. So
Next time, buy American.
it's a Chevy, you idiot.
You know. So, anyways, man,
You haven't gotten any smarter since the last time I spoke to you.
No, I did get a message from Freeland. Did PCO get the link? Well, of course, the interview.
He tuned in.
Yeah. I'm glad to see he pays attention to me. But here we go, man. This is kind of ironic. I get to have 3 Canadians all in a row. PCO, you, and then the next guest that just left. That's panel member.
Just got better.
So, but yeah, what is up with Freeland? Like, you can't tell me that he couldn't put it on, on listen. You don't have to watch, just listen.
Well, maybe he's in deep thought doing his report cards and stuff like that. I don't know.
Oh, speaking of deep thought, we're gonna bring him in. Dong Juan.
Hello. Nice to see you, Rit. Haven't seen you in a while, man.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I'm catching up on the podcast that you guys have been on. Taking care of things. So how are you and the lady friend? That's the podcast I just finished up.
Oh fuck! It was a couple of weeks ago. Doing okay. We're just talking right now. I've only seen her once so far, but our schedules kind of don't mesh too well. So let's hope something will happen soon.
Well, let's sit there and hope. But maybe we can sit there and have a live date like Freeland's been trying. I don't know why. That's just creepy.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that.
But no, I'll just tell him. But Freeland just messaged me. Did PCO get the link? He messaged me at 10:03. Well, the interview would be over by then. So yeah, he's really on top of things still. So
nice. Sounds about right.
So I am Dwayne. I hear the name. I can't put a face to it, but he has any thoughts on last night's Raw have several references to Cody Rhodes, like dashing and smoke and mirrors. Personally, I didn't watch Raw.
Nope.
Second thing, I am Dwayne, 514. If they even bring back the dashing Cody Rhodes, smoke and mirrors, I think it's a travesty. But then again, it is a lot better than, Stardust.
Stardust, yeah.
So,
that was terrible.
But he went and did what his dad did with the old polka dots, and said, "Well, we're gonna just go take it and run with it," and that's what he did with it and made the most of it. So he got the team and work with his brother, and he did the best he could with the gimmick. So did everybody get the topics that Freeland sent out?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good, because we're not going to be doing over half of them.
Great.
So
it's a good thing I studied up then.
Well, since we're sitting there talking about Cody, what is everybody's thoughts on Cody, the big announcement, him leaving, possibly going back to WWE, possibly is this a work? Let's start with you, Butt. What are your thoughts on the whole Cody Rhodes situation?
It's not a work. I don't believe that any way, shape, or form. I'm sorry to see him leave AEW. I don't see it panning out well for him if he does go back to Vince. They're going to bury him. I think they'll probably make an example out of him. Is what's going to happen. They'll just get another shitty gimmick. Just had the job out to everybody. The rumor was it was about money. I was reading an article today. They were saying something about he wanted some cash, a fair paycheck, and some ownership as well, which surprised me, that part. And they couldn't come to an agreement, so he left. I don't know. Like, I would have sooner he stayed in AEW. I think that would have panned out better for everybody. Him going to WWE, I don't see anybody winning in that deal. That's just me.
Yeah, Dong Juan, what about you? First things first, I gotta say that beard looks on point. Like the lines, it's all lined up, ready to go.
Thank you. As far as Cody goes, I kind of got into it last week, basically saying that, like it's not a work, obviously, because I was making a point of saying last week how everybody's conditioned to think that everything in wrestling is a work and everybody's working everybody all the time. So I just think that's a lot of bullshit because, my whole point was that they went to that extreme to put out press releases from Tony Khan, Brandy Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, and it turned out to be a work. The fans would just shit on them like pretty severely, I would think. If you went to WWE, I don't think it would amount to much, to be honest with you. Upper mid card, but I don't think he would be in the main event level. That's just my thought, though. I don't know if they'd necessarily bury him just to set an example because he's a star and people do know of him that are into wrestling. But as far as outside of wrestling, the only people that would react to him would say, "Oh, Rhodes, does that mean that's his son?" That's about it. Like that's Dusty's son. So other than that, I can't see how it's going to be that big of a deal. But let's not just assume that he's just going to go to WWE. It might be a while before he even shows up there, if he ever does. Who knows?
Yeah, me personally, okay, this is my thoughts on Cody. AEW was an upstart promotion. You need name recognition to start said promotion. Once you get so far and they're able to stand on their own, some stars are like, okay, I did what I could do. I got this so far. Now let's go to the next chapter of my life. And I think that's what Cody eventually did. He did what he could. He put over a lot of talent. Got over that TNT title. He helped Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin. The two matches that come to mind with Cody was him and Brody Lee in the dog collar match, and him and his brother Dustin.
That was excellent.
So, to me, the only other thing that would have been better if he would have did a heel turn. Gave the fans what they eventually wanted. He didn't have that opportunity. Now, say he goes and signs with WWE. Okay, now you got a name, and Vince is going to use that. Vince is going to use, hey, he was in AEW. Those AEW fans are going to tune in to see what Cody's doing over there. He might get a little spike in viewership, which is what he wants. You got a whole new marketable person. You got a whole new line of merchandise that you can make money off of, and you're going to use Cody's name to make more money off of. Plus, everybody that Cody works, most of them aren't there anymore. So you got a whole fresh slew of storylines to bring Cody in and a fresh lineup for him to work. So, but any thoughts on, what Dong Juan or myself has said?
Well, I mean, it all has the possibility of ring of truth. One One thing I would like to bring up, Boog just posted there. Any chance these guys hand in Ring of Honor? It's interesting. I don't know if necessarily is the case, but it is interesting nonetheless. Right? You think about if they brought him in, part ownership or something like that, kind of get him back on the right side and get running shows, could be fun. I don't know if it's necessarily going to happen, but fun to think about.
Yeah, I kind of like the thing on Twitter I seen. It was 5 pictures, and they said, all these people are free agent, or are they planning to start a company? It was Cody, Shane McMahon, Jeff Jarrett, Eric Bischoff, and there was a 5th one, or maybe it was 4. But just the money with Shane, and I'm sure Shane could get plenty of backers. Eric, then you have Cody, and then Jeff. They all tried to, at one point in time, either ran or start their own promotion. So
don't let Bischoff or Jarrett take care of the financial decisions. You might have a go at it. But
so, Dong, what are your thoughts?
I don't think Bischoff did a bad job in a lot of ways, though, but that's just my thought. He brought him to profitability in WCW. As far as
I'm ignorant. I didn't know.
I never said you were in the first place. Anyways, Ring of Honor, I don't think he would be going there because that promotion has been bleeding money for most of their existence, as far as I know. Kerry Silkin even admitted to that in his interview with Chris Jericho on his podcast, and said, yeah, like it was a losing proposition this whole time, but he loved the product so much and was so invested in it that he, I'm sure he minded losing the money, obviously, but he thought, it's probably the best way I can lose money because at least we're trying to put out a good product. So, but I don't think there's much hope of Ring of Honor coming, springing back up. So if they were in a good position, yeah, that'd be great for Cody because then he would, have a new promotion to try to lead. It didn't work out so well in AEW because the fans turned on him just based on the booking. But I can't see anything going on like that in Ring of Honor. Impact, I think it's a little crowded right now. I don't know if that would work, and I don't know if they'd have the money to offer him that he wants. So I think, pretty much just in my view, it would be like, WWE and maybe New Japan would be the 2 top dogs right now vying for him. Go out on your own, go do that for a while, and then down the road, if AEW is still going, come on back. It'd be reinvention of his character in a way. I think that could be good.
Yeah, if you want to go history or tradition, I would love to see him in NWA. NWA couldn't afford a contract size that he would want, but if they could book him on a per appearance, we're gonna get you 10 dates, this much money. I would love to see Cody chase the title like his father did, and then have that culminating moment, of capturing it. I would love to see him chase the title with Cardona as the champion. I think those two could have a lot of money following the give and take, especially since Cardona has that horseman-like stable with Brian Myers, Chelsea, where they could run interference, attack them and all that stuff and build up to a big money match that would lead to Cody, like Dusty, when he won the NWA title for the first time.
Well, they have their chemistry. They're close friends, right? So they could probably put on a really good program, I would think. And if you really think about it, like Nick Aldis will get that title back eventually. And Cody
Mhm.
against Nick Aldis, I think that would be a good money match. Whether
Didn't
the
they
fans
work-
would flock to it, I don't know, but
Didn't they work against each other once before?
Yeah, it was
And-
at All In. It was
Yeah.
NWA World Title match. That's where Cody won it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But they had a good match. But I mean, you could go back on that history and say, okay, well, I faced you before, but it's a new day and age. NWA is different now. Let's try it again. That kind of deal. You never know.
I'd watch
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yep.
So next topic we're going to discuss that was Freeland's Goldberg's legacy after Elimination Chamber. What are we sitting there and thinking of his career? What will his lasting legacy be after his last match against Roman Reigns? Dong, we're going to start with you.
I've never been a big Goldberg fan. He is kind of the epitome of give him a real simple, quick match, few moves, and execute. If you're doing that, great. No problems. Even recently, we can look back to when he won against Brock Lesnar. What was it? They went against each other a few times, but he won the title, I think, in like 2 minutes or something. It was just a quick...
I think it was Survivor Series.
Yeah, something along those lines. Real quick match, but it proved a point. It was just like boom, 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 and then just like it was over, and the fans popped, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can only do that so many times, right? So nowadays, like especially with him against the Undertaker, it was obviously showing the flaws of how Taker his body's breaking down, and Goldberg, he can't work with anybody, right? And we just have to kind of look at it in those terms. Now, as far as the legacy goes, he was a hot commodity for a while. He was WCW's answer to Steve Austin, if you really look at it. But if you want to look at him in the scope of how wrestling history is dictated, he's going to be a blip on the radar, really, because I don't know, to think that he is like some massive player in the history of wrestling, you got to consider the whole scope of wrestling, and then him, he'd be low. I'm not saying he didn't have a presence, but he would be low on the totem pole when you consider all the other greats. So it's just like I'm saying, I guess I would think just the quick matches in and out and dominating fashion. But you can only do that for so long, but that'll be his legacy, really.
Yeah, if you're looking at him as a wrestler, there's a lot of other title runs that was, a lot bigger. If you're looking at story, he might be in the top 10 just for the streak itself. I would have loved to seen Goldberg and his whole story, because it would have been more believable now in AEW, where if you're watching one show, he's at 17 wins, and the next show he's at 23. But if you had him on Elevation, AEW Dark, you could have built the actual streak instead of just skipping numbers, periodically. His longevity of his matches, there's maybe only a handful that I can remember that were really good. Goldberg and Hogan was one, because he had Hogan. Listen to me. I'll bring it home. I'll get to take care of you. When he came in and he worked Triple H, Triple H took care of him. The second time or the final time he worked Lesnar was a decent, solid match. When you brought up the Undertaker, even Goldberg said that was him, because he was concussed before he even went out there,
right?
Which that's what the Saudis paid to see. He couldn't sit there and tell him no,
right?
But then he look at the match where he wasn't himself, which hurt Taker, and then the whole match was, you know, in my opinion, that was 10 years too late.
Oh yeah.
So, but what are you thoughts on Goldberg's legacy after Elimination Chamber?
He had his date where he was over like Rover. Everybody knew him. I mean, hell, everybody was getting the tattoo he had on his shoulder. I mean, he was a big deal for quite a while. He's never. I don't think he'll ever be thought of as a great wrestler because he wasn't. Not to be mean, but he really wasn't. He had a handful of moves. He was proficient with them. He gave you a great look, and he dominated people. Because you look at him, you think he will smash you. Because he looked like he could. Big man, bald head, goatee, just chiseled. And his moves showed or gave that perception, anyhow, that he would smash you at the drop of a dime. So on that part, he was perfect for it. I don't think he'll go down as an all-time great or anything like that. But for his time, he was fantastic. The whole streak, which I don't even know how many matches allegedly it was, 300 and some odd, I think.
No,
Was it not or something?
187, I want to say. Jersey Devil, you're our stat guy. Hit me up with the number.
He knows, guaranteed. But I mean, that was good. That was fun. But he's not going to be remembered of, in a Harley Race, Hulk Hogan type of thing. He's just not. He just wasn't that good, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and to think the end of his career, you can tell it was just for that paycheck. Like I can see up until the point where he wanted to do it for his son, just have his son see him wrestle. But after he's seen him wrestle at WrestleMania, he just did it for the paycheck, and he won one. He won one match out of his last 7, and that was a quick spear to the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Or was it? Wait, was it Wyatt or was it Kevin Owens?
No idea.
He beat both, I think.
Yeah, but he won one. He won one match out of his last 7. It's ridiculous to think that they jobbed him on the way out for no reason. He was just that special attraction that Roman Reigns worked because it was Saudi Arabia. Vince had to have that big name guy on there. He jobbed the whole way out, and it's a shame to end your career like that. But he had shoulder problems, and he's done. He said that in an interview that he's probably that would be his last match, and he's taking care of his shoulder to get surgery on now. So Dong, anything else you want to add?
No, just kind of like backing up both of your points that the showmanship was there. In the end, it doesn't really compute to all-time great, but for a brief moment in time in the late 90s, that guy was on fucking fire, and he was WCW's answer to Stone Cold. Whether he was mocked for it or not, because he sort of had the same look, not entirely, but sort of. It depends who you ask, really. But I do remember some people walking around with Goldberg shirts. I see a lot more with Austin shirts, but I saw some Goldberg shirts too. So he obviously had somewhat of an influence.
Yep, 173-0 was the official streak. Jersey Devil says. But yeah. Goldberg is going to sit there and go down as one of the biggest attractions in professional wrestling history. So next topic up I want to talk about CM Punk MJF. I was watching last week the promo where CM Punk, sitting in the ring, and he cut a really great promo where he wanted to sit there and say that MJF says he's the Piper in Oregon, the Brett in Calgary, and it got him thinking. And I am really, really excited for this dog collar match between CM Punk and MJF. And MJF sold it perfectly. Came out there, and he was just, for once in his life, flabbergasted and had no idea what to say and just left. But did you see the promo, and what are your thoughts on this match coming up at Revolution?
I'm a week behind on AEW. I've been following a little bit online, but yeah, thanks for that. So I knew a little bit of what was going on. I have not seen the promo. I think MJF's promos were fantastic. I think CM Punk's promos were fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing it tomorrow night. I'll watch it. And a dog collar match, I mean, love it. They're always fantastic because you know it's going to be. This should be fairly vicious. So, and MJF, I'm a fan. Like I'm all in on MJF more so than probably anybody in wrestling right now. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, but me personally, with this, they MJF and CM Punk are going to have a hard dog collar match because the only other one that was in AEW was Brody Lee and Cody Rhodes, and that was vicious. And then you have CM Punk talking about the Piper Valentine dog collar match. If they are talking and want to sit there and bring that up, they have really big shoes to fill. Yeah. And I am excited to see CM Punk and MJF in this dog collar match because I'm hoping that the anticipation I have doesn't lead to a letdown, but we're going to sit there and see. Dong, what are your thoughts? Did you see the promo and everything?
I didn't actually see it. I'm the same as Bud. I'm about a week behind. However, I can tell you that with those two in a dog collar match, I think we can all agree that that's going to be top tier. Punk works his fucking ass off all the time. He takes a big nod to history, the history of wrestling. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he's going to probably delve into some of that stuff in the match. MJF's a prodigy. He is, for his age, he shouldn't be this good. He really shouldn't. Just when everybody thought he was like all talk and that's all he could do, he pulls out some amazing matches, and then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, okay," which some of us knew already, but some people had to be convinced. Mm-hmm. So with those two going at it, yeah, it's gonna be great. I don't think it will be Starrcade '83 because that was a fucking bloodbath, and I think Piper lost his hearing in one ear or something because of it. It was just fucking brutal. But as far as the actual match goes, though, I'm looking forward to that. First, I'm hearing about it right now. The only problem I have is AEW's kind of proliferation of doing gimmick matches all the time. Now, with it being at a pay-per-view, I can make an exception, but it's been diluted so much on the other shows, just regular TV shows, having a gimmick match every week or every other week, and it really dilutes it. So I can give them a pass on the pay-per-view, but you know, I'm really hoping that starts to get toned down soon, because if you can't have two guys go in the ring or a tag team have a match and just sell it based on the match, that to me is a problem, because then you're going to rely on the gimmick matches way too much, which I think they do, but that's just my thoughts. Some other people just love it. That's fine. But yeah, on a pay-per-view, sure. Weekly on a TV show, not so much.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the lines of the dog collar match kind of fits those two story. MJF keeps running away. Let's connect each other. You can't run away now. Type of atmosphere. I do kind of also hope that they have Valentine there at ringside for this, you know, to kind of pay homage to him, because if they're bringing up the, that dog collar match, No one knows it better than Greg. He was there firsthand experience.
He was the last one, wasn't he, with Brody Lee and Cody?
He was.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the stands. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm kind of hoping that they give him ringside seat for this one to give him tribute to that. But any more thoughts on what Dong or myself had said?
No, I hadn't thought of having Valentine there. That'd be fantastic. Why not? A little nostalgia act. I mean, 3 of us grew up watching him wrestle. I'd be all for that. Why not? Something fun.
Yep.
Maybe have him give one of them a smack in the head or something. Something, because if you're going to have him ringside, you got to have him involved. Now, I'm not saying actively in the match, but they're brawling outside and he smacks MJF in the head or something like that. You'd want to have him involved to a very small extent, but just have him do something.
Mm-hmm.
Not be a major factor in the match, but just to say he did. I think that'd be fun.
Next topic I want to sit there and talk about was one of Freeland's AJ Styles re-signs with WWE. Were you guys surprised at this?
No.
Dong, let's start with you.
Not surprised, really. He is in the twilight of his career, and some people may not want to admit that, but you gotta wind down at some point, right? So I think he's positioned pretty well to ride out into the sunset, kind of like Shawn Michaels did, because those two are kind of parallel as far as comparisons. A lot of people compare those two. AJ Styles, I think, in a lot of ways, is better than Michaels. That's just my opinion. I know that's sacrilege to some people, but whatever, right? I'd like to think that because he even said a while ago that he was just going to give it another year or two and not really perform after that because, he doesn't want his body to be just destroyed. And, he goes at a good pace all the time, right? He doesn't really, fuck around in the ring. He always gives it his all, right? So you would have to think that he could position himself in kind of a role like Shawn Michaels, where he's going to be backstage after he retires, really coaching all the newcomers, giving them his tips and psychology that made him one of the all-time greats, I would think. Now he's gone from TNA, where in a lot of ways some people would think he was a spot monkey, but he also had the psychology down. But he slowly started to lose that a bit, like the spots and everything. He's lost that a bit, but he's made himself even better in the ring. And it's maybe a little disappointing to some that he's re-signed with WWE because they're boring to some people, but at the same time, he's set himself up probably for the rest of his career, the rest of his working career, basically, to finish up there, have a good role backstage, I would think, and really coach the new kids coming up, even at NXT or something. I mean, having him backstage at NXT, Shawn Michaels and him, man, you can't get much better than that, right? So, I mean, that's kind of what I would do with him. I just don't want to see him destroy his body much more than he has. I would like to think maybe go one more year, but that's just my thought.
Yeah, I love the AJ Shawn comparison.
Yep.
Renegade's a huge Shawn Michaels fan. I always loved AJ, and we always get those heated debates of who's better. Shawn's always had that WrestleMania spotlight. AJ hasn't had that, but he's put his time in, New Japan. Great matches in New Japan, where I don't know if Shawn could get the same crowd reaction in Japan as AJ was able to.
Well, Shawn was also big in AWA and in Texas wrestling before he came to WWF. But I mean, that's slim pickings as far as compared to AJ. AJ had a very brief run in WCW, and he was the MVP, basically like the ace of the company of TNA for God knows how long. So it's not going to be fair maybe to contrast them in that sense, because Shawn Michaels spent since 87 or 88 in WWF till now. AJ Styles has spent the last 5 or 6 years in WWE. So not the best comparison in that sense, but I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, the overall work is almost identical. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And another thing I always thought was funny was like everybody wanted that dream matchup. What would have happened if Shawn and AJ were in the ring at the same time? You know, man, if you put Shawn in his heyday against AJ in his heyday, man, like or even AJ when he debuted in WWE at the Royal Rumble, like those two could have stolen any show, any card, any main event you wanted. They could have stole the show. They could have been the Piper's, not the Piper, the Steamboat Macho Man match on any card.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, but man, sit there and just to think, AJ signs again, like you said. He could. I loved in an interview he said before that he is glad that his wife helped him decide and turn down the original contract they gave him, because he was offered a tryout contract and he decided to stay and build his brand, build his name, get better, because when he finally got that call, he is the only one that I can remember to skip NXT and go straight to the main roster.
He was that good. That's the thing. Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, AJ's earned every amount of money he's getting from his contract. I would love to see him more in the main event, but I think his time in the main event is done. Now he's just there to help the next generation. Because I would love to sit there and see a him and Seth Rollins. I'm hoping we possibly get to see the AJ Styles Edge match that is rumored to happen. But AJ signing back with WWE, I think it's best for him and his family. He could go anywhere he wanted to, guaranteed. Anyone would have gave him a contract with any amount of money he wanted. But I think he made the smart choice to stay there in WWE. But what are your thoughts?
Definitely made the right call to resign. I mean, he doesn't need to be bouncing around all over Hell's Half Acre anymore. He's got nothing left to prove. Right, so he stays in WWE. How many years did he sign for? Does anybody know? I thought he signed a couple months ago, to be honest with you. I didn't know he just re-signed. I thought this was a while ago.
I'm going off of what Freeland put for the topics.
Well, that's a mistake. But why not? He's got nothing to prove. He's done pretty much everything. He's fantastic. No, he stays with WWE, rides it out, say he's got another 2 years or 3 years. I don't know what his contract is. And he's making solid cash. He's got to be. There's no way he's not getting paid well.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a great run, whether it was with Impact or when he was over in Japan. It's a perfect move for him because at this point, he doesn't want to be traveling back and forth to Japan. He's just not. I would be surprised if he's interested in that at this point in his career, or just in his life in general. Right, so it's probably a fantastic move for him. Financially, it's a great move for him. He gets to end his career, arguably in the top federation in the world. Some people would disagree, but he's not here tonight. So, and why not just ride it out, get your last couple paydays? They'll still push him. They're not going to bury him or nothing, but he's not going to be at the top of the heap. He won't be wrestling Roman or nothing like that for the title, but he's still going to have a good run towards the end, and hopefully he does teach the younger crowd how to be a damn good wrestler or just be a professional. right? Him in NXT, that could be dynamite if they brought him down there, and he could teach a lot. Right? So why not? It's a fantastic move.
Yeah, me personally, either WrestleMania rumored match for AJ, because the other one I hear is Austin Theory. So either way, you're going to have a great, it just depends on what end of the card they're going to be at. Him and Edge, could set semi-main
Excuse
event
me.
a match, or him and Austin Theory could open WrestleMania. Either way, you're going to get a solid match from them. So
I'd personally rather see him and Edge. That's just me. That's what I would sooner see.
So next topic up is the rumors of Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. So, but we're going to start off with you. Stone Cold's been out of wrestling for how long?
20 years.
Do we want to sit there and see Stone Cold try to come back? Can he still do it? And what type of match would we get between him and Owens? But starting off,
I don't want to see this. I mean, hey, I love Stone Cold back in the day, and I love Kevin Owens, but I have no interest in seeing this. If they do it, this needs to be a 5-minute or less squash match. I mean, Stone Cold was beat up 20 years ago when he left. I can't see him being in any better shape now. No disrespect to him. I mean, the guy's in great shape, but he's beat up.
Jersey Devil says
simple.
Says 19 years, 2003.
Okay.
Him and Rock
close enough.
Him and Rock at WrestleMania was his last match.
Yeah, so I don't want to see it. I have no interest in it. What are you going to get out of it? Where do you go? You can't have an angle from it because you're not going to bring Stone Cold back to do a run of any sort. So is it just, do you have him job out to Owens and then Owens is the king of the stunner now? Or do you have him beat Owens and, well, what do you do with him now? So the guy hasn't wrestled in 20 years, comes back, beats Kevin Owens, and then he goes back to his ranch, but you do it with Owens. There's no, it doesn't benefit any kind of storyline whatsoever. The only reason you do that is to get some, I was trying to think of the word, just some mainstream attention. I guess, a nostalgia factor is what it is, but it won't really help anything. It'll just be, either Stone Cold gets jobbed out, and that goes nowhere. Doesn't help Owens. He just becomes the king of the stunner. Maybe he could run some kind of gimmick like that. Or if Owens loses, he just got buried. That's not worth a damn either. He just resigned. Why would you do that to him?
Yeah, I'm sitting there and kind of agreeing with you along the lines of you build yourself up for a lose-lose situation. Mm-hmm. Austin wins, Owens doesn't. Owens just lost to a man that's 57 years old with bad knees and bad back. To me, Vince, when him making WrestleMania into a 2-night show, is booking himself into a corner because he doesn't have enough big names build up for 2 nights. So he has to try to draw those straws to try to reach, to get people to come back, to do these, the fill matches on the card and stuff. Jersey Devil sits there and, says throwing shit at the wall with WrestleMania being in Texas. Steve Austin returns, Undertaker Hall of Fame induction, which we're going to talk about with our final topic. But it's true. Like, if you're building up WrestleMania to be 2 different nights, you got to take the whole year now to build new stars, to be able to get a brand behind these new stars. So when they are on WrestleMania, it means something. Like, I am dying to see and this match here, in my opinion itself, could maybe not headline WrestleMania, but it could headline SummerSlam. Call up Walter, or whatever he goes by now,
Gunther.
and have him go against Roman Reigns. You know, that would be. You know, you don't have to have Gunther win. You can sit there and just have it be where he knocks Roman out outside and gets a count out win. You're building him up. It shows a little chink in Roman's armor, but you get a solid match that people will be dying to see. Because I'm gonna still call him Walter, but he can sit there and work any style you want. He can hit harder than almost anybody on that roster, and he could give Roman Reigns a believable run for his money. So, Dong, let's go back to WrestleMania. Steve, KO, what are your thoughts?
Okay. I don't see it ever happening. There's no way. Austin, he's probably had opportunities to come back. And I think he's just put that part of his life, far away, and he doesn't wish to come back in that capacity. Imagine the injuries he would get just from the one match, just because his body isn't used to it anymore. Guy's pushing 60. So, I wouldn't want to think how bad that could be for him. Now, if you look at, say, like 97 era Steve Austin and Kevin Owens, Jesus, just forget about it. That could almost be on the level of him and Bret Hart. Not gonna say it would be, but it would be up there.
Yeah.
So if we're looking in those terms, hell yeah. If we're talking these days, no. It comes down to, like you're saying, that they don't have a lot of people right now that they can put in those slots for main events or for upper main events. And it's really evident these days because you have a lot of people like Goldberg and, people like that are trying to be at the top of the card. Brock Lesnar can still go, so I don't totally put him in that scenario, but he's part of the old guard, right? He's been in and out since like 2003, I think. So we really want to look at it like in those terms. Yeah, like it would be good as far as selling out the stadium and stuff if they thought Steve Austin was going to have one more match in Texas, blah, blah, blah. But not advisable to what I would see. Now, as far as what you were saying with like Walter, imagine him against Brock Lesnar. I would rather see that, even though I love Roman Reigns, I would rather see him against Brock Lesnar because those two would beat the living shit out of each other. And that would be just an absolute fight. Problem with that is you could never start it now, because if you started any of that stuff now, going into WrestleMania, wouldn't have the proper build. That's something they could have done potentially, and brought up Imperium from NXT and had, Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner as his heavies right behind him all the time. Not that he needs it, but, just to show he's a heel. That would have worked. But they could have started that around Royal Rumble time and really started to build a matchup. That would have been awesome, but yeah, that's not going to be happening, I don't think. So it's going to be kind of the paint by numbers WrestleMania we're going to expect, I think. So unless they can pull something really crazy out of the hat, I don't see what's going to happen. Like, that's going to be interesting to me in the next month. So
yeah, well, from what I'm hearing and reading, they're supposed to have a big surprise on each night.
Yeah.
So, is that just an anticipation to try to get you to watch it? We're gonna have to sit there and see. Another thing, I sit there and why wasn't Walter or Gunther in the Royal Rumble? Why couldn't he won the Royal Rumble?
Well, because they didn't want to put any NXT people in there.
He doesn't deserve to be in NXT though.
I agree. I completely
You
agree,
know?
but
And
he's part of NXT, and they didn't have any of those performers there at Royal Rumble. So
the reason I brought up Roman is Roman hasn't had that many viable actual opponents
yeah,
that you could sit there and say. Besides, we'll say a Cesaro, where it had a chance to actually possibly win.
I'm not saying that Walter against Roman wouldn't be like excellent, but just for me, the money match for me would be him against Brock Lesnar because they're both huge guys. They're both stiff as hell. And I think Roman's more about telling a story in the ring. Lesnar is more about an attack. So if you have those two behemoths going against each other, holy shit. People would lose it if they saw that.
Oh,
just because it would be completely out of left field, right? But yeah, I get what you're saying about Roman, though. That'd be an excellent match, too.
Yeah. But what are your final thoughts on this topic?
I want to see Roman versus Otis at WrestleMania. Yeah.
Wow, you just lost all credibility, bud.
I've lost that years ago, long before I met you knuckleheads.
So, but okay, we're gonna go to the next topic. And I don't know if you guys, because I'm a week behind on you guys. AEW, which I thought one of their best kept secrets last week was, or 2 weeks ago would be now, the debuting of Keith Lee as the actual surprise. I never seen that coming. I love the debut. I love that he's in the casino ladder match. I love who they have in the ladder match itself right away. Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, another spoiler alert, guys, that you're a week behind, and Keith Lee, so far. So, what were your guys? Did you guys cover this last week? His debut.
Yeah, I think we
really,
did for Keith Lee, but
I
remember saying something about it.
Yeah, we'll just sit there and talk real quick then. What were your thoughts about opening match on the card, and Keith Lee's debut, and did you think his debut was impactful enough? But we're gonna start with you.
I haven't seen it. From what I've read, didn't seem to be overly well received. He's not in the greatest shape right now, from what I've been reading. So he had COVID apparently. So now some of the articles I've read saying he's got some breathing issues going on. So he's having some issues with that. Take that with a grain of salt. He's a great talent that never seemed to get pushed properly in WWE. So I'm lukewarm to him, mostly because I just haven't experienced him enough. The little bit that I've seen in WWE wasn't much. NXT, different story. WWE, he never really got over, and I think he's lost a bit of steam, unfortunately, right now. We'll see what happens with him in AEW.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and I'm really glad to see him in AEW. Hopefully, Tony Khan and all of them are able to go and be able to use him to the best of his ability. I think that this is no disrespect to anybody else on the roster, but they finally have a man that can, I don't know how to say this, a black man to be able to push main event status.
We're getting canceled.
So I'm glad, and his debut match was great. He was able to show how he hasn't lost a step, how he can still do indie work and keep up with a smaller guy and just be that presence. I cannot wait to see him in that ladder match, because just remembering him in the NXT and the North American Championship ladder match was amazing. The things that he did in a ladder match, a big man's not supposed to do. They're going to have to reinforce these ladders, and I can't wait to see this. Dong, what did you think about his debut?
As far as the debut goes, it was pretty close to perfect as far as how it was booked.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good opponent. I wouldn't want to think it would be anybody huge. So, just so you can, you get the odd move against Keith Lee, and then he just beats the shit out of the guy, right? Like that kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good in that sense. I worry that he's gonna be kind of like go the way of, Brian Cage, guys like that, come in with a lot of fanfare. Well, maybe not so much Brian Cage because he didn't come in with a lot of fanfare, but like, like Adam Cole, guys like that kind of like they start out hot.
A Christian.
Sure. Well, yeah, but Christian's kind of like he's like the veteran, lending his ear, lending his expertise to what the fuck they're called,
Jurassic Express.
Yeah, sure. But with I just kind of worry that he's gonna get like stuck in the same position that a lot of those guys do. Like it's a big debut, everything's good for a few weeks, and then just goes right down. I think that out of all the a lot of the people that have come in, he's got the most potential out of most of them because the guy moves like a cruiserweight. He's a big guy, but he still looks as good as he did in NXT, WWE, whatever. And if he did have any health problems, it wasn't noticeable in that match because he was throwing the guy around and moving like a cat like he usually does. So if he can keep going in that sense, awesome. I'm not getting my hopes up at all though, because I just see how the debuts happen with big stars and then it kind of goes down. The only real exception being like Bryan Danielson that I can think right offhand, because he's still kind of in the hunt right now. But if they don't play that up really well, it's not going to be as enjoyable for me. But I think he's got the world of potential. I just really hope they book him properly. That's all.
I kind of hope they book him kind of like an 80s like top star.
How
don't
so?
Don't have him on every show.
Okay, yeah.
A little bit here, a little bit there, because I honestly think they oversaturate Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, to the point where why are you on Rampage just to come out and talk? Like I understand you want to sit there and have their presence that hey we're still here, we're part of AEW, but then you're taking those 10 minutes away from another match that could be on there.
Well, you do have to sell the B show though, don't you? If you don't sell the B show with at least an appearance by someone you're real familiar with, there's a good chance they're not going to get a real big rating. And Rampage isn't drawing like great ratings because it's the B show and everybody knows that. And I know they're trying to put a bit of more of a focus on maybe some of the younger talent, maybe the ones that aren't pushed as much on Dynamite, and that's fine. But you have to mix in some of the more established talent, or you're not going to get the ratings. And putting Danielson on every now and then on there, yeah, I don't find a problem with it, but you have to consider that if they did do what you're saying and they did put Keith Lee as kind of like, okay, he's the killer and he's on every few weeks or something, that's not going to be much different than a lot of people now, because there's a lot of people that are only on every like once a month or whatever, and it just kind of dilutes them after a while, because if you're like, oh, that guy, I was really excited about that guy, where did he go? And you can say that about lots of different talent, and I don't want to see him get to that level. I would I'd be okay if he was on like every other week, but I don't want to
Yeah.
see him like once a month, because I think that'd be stretching it out a bit. But I get what you're saying, but I just think they have a track record right now of just kind of having those people that are, oh, well, we haven't used him in a bit. Let's just throw him out there for this week, and then we'll figure out what to do with him next week. That kind of deal.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the roster is too big.
That too.
They
Yeah.
got too big of a roster, too many names. You can't push them all. There's not enough time. They're going down the WCW hole, unfortunately.
Well, the thing with AEW, we don't actually know who's under contract as a year, 2-year contract, and who's paid by appearance. Because I can't see Danhausen have a year contract. I think he's one of the guys that's paid by appearance. You know what I mean?
Well, he's signed though. That's the difference.
Oh, is he officially
he
signed?
is signed.
Yeah,
I know.
he's
Yeah, I
officially-
know he is. Yeah.
Yep.
See, but I just there's a lot of talent there, and I just wish they would spread the wealth out, because I remember watching 3 weeks of Rampage in a row, watching CM Punk come out to do a Mick Foley / John Cena promo of, hey, I'm glad I'm back and I'm right here in Long Island, New York. Like, what's the point? You come out just to get a cheap pop? No, I'd rather sit there and see a Red Dragon Young Bucks main event, or a Red Dragon Lucha Brothers main event. You know what I mean?
FTR.
FTR. I would love to sit there and see something like that, to where, okay, you're using the talent you have, and you're getting 10 solid minutes of a match rather than a cheap pop. So
it's the thing with AEW that for me, it's just like they have like unlimited potential, and it's just so sporadic all over the place.
Mhm.
It's just like I can't keep track of anything that's going on, and it's lack of focus. And I'm just thinking of there's all these great matches that could potentially be happening, but it's all over the place. Like I was thinking the other day when I'm watching like the Pinnacle, I mean, what really keeps them together as a group? Sean Spears doesn't do anything, and I'd love him to, because I think he's a great talent. FTR's on every once a month. Wardlow, yeah, he's they're figuring him in as far as a turn goes on MJF, but does the group really do anything besides that? Are they recognized as a group? Do they have a common theme going? No. So it's like that's one example I was thinking of the other day. Like, does it really matter if they're a group on TV? I don't think so. It's just a lack of focus. That's all.
But it's kind of like I kind of like what they're doing with the Inner Circle. Like, they were stagnant,
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, Sammy Guevara saying, okay, till you guys figure this out, I'm out. Then you have Santana and Ortiz, taking on Hager and Jericho. Inner Circle's done, and now you're getting Eddie Kingston involved. That's the type of storytelling I like. That part of AEW, where it kind of reminds me of the Raven effect in ECW. It was all started with Raven and Tommy Dreamer. Then all of a sudden the Dudleys, Stevie Richards, Sandman. Like the Blue Meanie. All of a sudden you're incorporating lots more layers. If AEW could start doing that type of storytelling, like they kind of are starting with, Jericho and Kingston now, and I could get more involved with it. And I'm not putting down their product at all. It's just you got to get the people invested to want to watch each week, twice a week for 4 hours.
Sure. I get that.
Well, the thing is, one of the things with Rampage, I can never find it on TV up here.
It's on
very rarely can you find it.
TBS, I think.
TBS at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know, unless it's something fairly new, I can never find it at all. So We're gonna be different times every week, so that doesn't help none. Either with your ratings, when we can't get it up here in Canada.
So, last topic I want to talk about: Undertaker finally getting the nod and inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I want your guys' opinions. Should he be in a class of Jersey Devil, you son of a bitch? I was just getting ready to sit there and say this, and Jersey Devil's got to steal my thunder. Should The Undertaker be the sole induction to this year's WWE Hall of Fame class? So, but we are going to not start with you.
Good.
Dong, we're going to start with you. What are your thoughts on them inducting Taker this year? It's in Texas. Should he be the only induction this year? Kind of like they gave the nod to Andre when he was inducted.
Andre, I think that was when the Hall of Fame was just kind of like a very loose thing that was happening,
Yes,
right? Like
correct.
94, 95, around there. So, in that sense with Andre, I can kind of understand it wasn't really a thing back then. There was no ceremony and all that. These days, they always have a class. That's not to say Undertaker doesn't stand above probably all the people that are going to be inducted. But at the same time, I mean, did you have someone like Bret Hart by himself? No. And that guy, and he's a fucking legend, right? I don't think they should have him by himself, even though he was with WWE from like 1990 to like 2020, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Great career, like just instrumental to the company, especially through the really lean years when they were just going down the toilet as far as losing money all the time. He stuck with them. All that stuff, you really have to commend the guy, and he does stand on his own as one of the all-time greats. But I mean, I don't want to think that he's above anybody as far as like, okay, well, we can have him, but anybody we thought about putting in, we can wait till next year. It's a perfect spot to do it in Texas, because that's his home. And we all knew that when he finally was riding off in the sunset, that WrestleMania coming up after that would be his send-off. This is it. So we've come to terms that it all lined up pretty much how we thought it would be. And I just as far as being the sole induction, I just kind of want to go to what I was saying. He needs to be looked at with a class, but he does stand on his own in a lot of ways. But don't degrade the rest of the people that are could be going in by saying, you know what, screw you guys this year. We're just putting the one guy in. They can do it. It's their fucking company. They can do whatever they want, right? They very well could do that. I just don't think it's going to happen. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just I see what you're saying about, because of course you got to look at the ambiance of WrestleMania, Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Who's going to pay to see just Undertaker be inducted?
A lot would, but I don't think as much as a variety.
Yeah. So, man, Jersey Devil, you keep sitting there and writing stuff that I'm getting ready to talk about. I'm going to get you in here just to help you co-host, so I can just sit back and do nothing. But, man, so do you sit there and build it around the Undertaker, though? You could sit there and is Kane inducted yet?
Nope.
I
don't think so.
You can get Kane in there. Who do you have? The obvious choice would have been Paul Bearer. Who's going to induct him? Do you have Kane?
Is Paul Bearer in the Hall of Fame?
Paul is, yes.
Oh, okay.
He is?
Yeah. His sons inducted him in.
Okay.
But do you sit there and have Kane induct him? $1 million Man, because he's the one that brought him in. What about
Mick Foley?
I was gonna say Mick Foley? That he has one of his most famous ones. Do you have
Some
Sean?
people even said Vince.
Vince, since they had that bond.
I don't think it would happen, but I mean, like that would probably be almost like the obvious choice in a lot of ways. But I can't see Vince ever doing it, especially since he doesn't like getting attention. Like if you mention him during your Hall of Fame induction, he gets fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Apparently, so.
So it's just I can't wait to see who's going to induct him.
Yeah.
What about induct some of the people that he's beaten at WrestleMania that haven't quite made it yet? Sid. Was the Boss Man there yet?
He made it in, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I just kind of can't wait to see what they got to have something big planned for him though.
I wouldn't have it to where it's Undertaker and the other inductees are people he's beaten, because that just minimizes them too much, I think. Like you're only getting in because the Undertaker beat you at WrestleMania or something like that. I don't think that's cool. I wouldn't go for that. Right? He's definitely going to be your headliner. I mean that's a no-brainer. I mean there's not even any kind of negotiation. Anybody that doesn't agree with that's a fool. He's definitely your headliner, but you still got to have it be a class of 2022. You have to do it, just like they always do with the builders category and all that stuff. You still got to go ahead with that. I don't think it should be a sole thing, and I don't think you should completely build it around just him, more or less. That just doesn't do other people justice. There's too many people that deserve to get in that won't get in because of that, or if they do get in, you can be like, you got, I'm the class of 2022. Oh, it wasn't just the Undertaker, or you only got in because you wrestled the Undertaker or something like that. I don't think that's proper. I don't like that.
Yeah, they try not to sit there and have it be around one person, but there's always one or two people in each class that, like, I can remember when Hogan went in. I remember Hogan. I remember Piper. I don't remember anybody else in that class.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like that. It's like that with baseball. It's like that with hockey, football, basketball, whatever. There's always going to be that. But you don't want it to just be everything revolved around one guy and all you other people are irrelevant. You're just, throw-ins. I don't think that's fair.
Why not just do it like, okay, we have Undertaker. Why don't we put one of those people in that's been talked about for a long time? Why don't we put Invader in the same class? There's someone who really earned his keep and who was a phenomenal wrestler. And, like maybe not in the same class, but like looking down the road, Bam Bam Bigelow. Guys like that. I even think I don't think it'll probably ever happen, but I think someone like Tommy Dreamer, put him in.
I always thought they should have they have a celebrity wing.
Yeah.
ECW contributed just as much to the Attitude Era as any other.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a WCW wing too? If you do ECW, you gotta have a WCW wing.
But most of the WCW people, are like all their top people are in the Hall of Fame right now.
Well, I'm looking at it more from the fact that, like, just for myself, because I'm a big Tommy Dreamer fan, but the amount that he put into ECW, he was as much a part of ECW as Paul Heyman was.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people also ignore Todd Gordon, but that's another story for another day. But in the later years, if it wasn't for Tommy Dreamer, do you think that company would be going as well as it did, or even half as well as it was, it would probably have faltered because he was the backbone. He was the heart. And
Well,
if
heck,
they don't put him in at some point, I would think that's a travesty, but that's me.
and well, Jerry even sat there and said there were points where Tommy wouldn't take a paycheck,
Right.
and
Right.
just to keep afloat. And
Yep.
towards the end, Tommy was the one running the all the house shows.
Yeah, he was the lifeblood.
But Paul wasn't there,
No.
you know. So I think somebody like Tommy deserves. I think if you're talking about just strictly wrestling, Raven would have to be inducted at some point.
He'll never get in, though, because I think he has a lawsuit, an open lawsuit against them, so I don't think that would ever happen. He's said that a couple of times, that he has said enough stuff about the company that it would never happen. I'd love to see it, but I don't think it would ever happen, but,
So, hey, I know by talking to Sabu said, hey, if the payday's right, he'll get inducted.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at what he's contributed to the industry and how he's destroyed his body and how he influenced God knows how many wrestlers through the years, especially just through his hard work and everything. I mean, he's controversial in a lot of ways, but man, if you can't deny that he's not led a legendary career, I mean, like, I don't know where you're looking.
Well, even when he was on the podcast, he sat there and said that Jeff asked about using some of Sabu's trademark moves. The jumping off the back to like the Hardy Boys, thing that we all know that Hardy Boys does. Sabu did it first,
Yep.
but off a chair. There's so many things that Sabu helped influence in today's wrestling that people don't even know about.
Yeah, you're right.
So, but I think we all agree it's great Taker's in the Hall of Fame. We all knew this was going to happen after he hung up the boots, and now it's just fun to see who gets to be a part of that with him. So, oh man, I would love to have the Midnight Express in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. That would be amazing.
Is the Rock and Roll Express in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, they made it in, but if you had the Midnights in there and Cornette, like, I don't know if they want to have Cornette in there right now, but you never know.
But why wouldn't Cornette was there? Like me personally.
Yeah, but he's so controversial.
You're so controversial, but so was you have Hogan in. He was controversial. Flair's in. He's controversial.
But Cornette takes like open shots every single week at the product, and he doesn't care because he has nothing to lose. So, yeah, you could put him in there, but it's like whether they have their feelings hurt enough or not. Like, who knows, right?
But who hasn't sit there and Pritchard took shots?
I know.
And he got rehired how many times? You got to sit. You have to take stuff aside, personal vendettas, and look at that's what a Hall of Fame to me is. Look at the body of work that they do and what they did to help WWE and wrestling as a whole be what it is today. You know what I mean?
Don't disagree at all. I don't disagree.
So, but Dom, I'm glad you guys were able to sit there and join me on this all Canadian show with
2/3.
No, PCO was my other guest.
Well, you're not Canadian.
I thought I was
not that lucky. No.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, my health care I have to pay myself. So, but okay. But Liam, any final thoughts? We're gonna go butt first before we wrap things up.
Yeah, not really any final thoughts. I guess I really don't have much to say. Have a good night. Don't be a scumbag. There you go.
Well, wait a minute here, but we're missing something in your background. There's no red zone.
Oh yeah, buddy, it's right there.
It is?
That's the red zone, buddy.
It looks orange to me.
No, it's red. The walls are orange. This big thing, that's a wall. That's orange.
Well, I guess I'm colorblind over these past couple weeks.
Could be.
So, Dong.
Nobody ended up in the red zone tonight. That's
No.
very rare.
Maybe we should sit there and just make this a thing now. Maybe I should take over for a month or so.
I'm less angry, so I mean I haven't freaked out.
So Dong, any final thoughts on you or in you or?
I mean, I'll just throw out some plugs, I guess. Just quickly, my YouTube channel is I've been putting a lot of different stuff up there. A lot of variety as far as wrestling content. So if you guys would like to watch anything I got up there, go to Savage Liam on Twitter and look at my link tree, and you'll find my YouTube link on there. Any other links for any of my other stuff you'd like to look at? And I'd like to say hi to that special lady. She's watching right now. So.
Oh, is she? Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. Has she figured out the chat yet?
She was in it, I think, a few weeks ago. Yeah. I don't know if she's on right now. She's watching. I don't know if she's actually in the chat. So, who knows?
Love is in the air.
I don't know if I go that far, but
so
yeah.
Hey, I want to sit there and thank you guys for coming on. The pleasure was all yours. And well, I want to sit there and say, guys, head on over to twitch.tv/hey. There we go. Bam.
Yeah, there she is.
Is that really her?
That's her.
Okay, I can't say nothing because I might get myself in trouble. But anyways,
you were saying
head over to twitch.tv/FRM pod. Smash that follow button. Make sure you sit there and give us a like. Subscribe if you want. If not, if you don't want to hit us up every week live and you want to hit back the Rolodex of our great guests on FSN, FRM, you want to hit up 6 Degrees of Written Renegade, some Cult of Beardo, head on over to our YouTube page that is done by the great Liam Savage and hit a little subscribe over there. Make sure you check us out. Comment on your favorite videos. One of my personal favorites is definitely the 3-year anniversary show. We got to do a little thank you for Mikey and Jerry. And guys, if you want to get some merchandise, head on over to I forget what it is. It's been way too long.
brainbustertees.com.
Bam,
and put front row material in the search.
Yes, thanks, Liam.
That's the easiest way to do it. There you go.
So yeah, you have we have hoodies, we got zip ups, we got beanies, we got stickers, we got masks, we got it all. Head on over there and get yourself a shirt, hoodie. Renegade got himself a great 6 Degrees of Written Renegade hoodie, and it looks fantastic. He said it feels amazing. So it made it 2-3 times through the washer and no deterioration. So I'm glad to hear that. So guys, I want to thank you again. Thanks for everybody that was in the chat. Debbie, ECW fan, Jersey Devil. I am Dwayne. Let's see who else. Boog was in here.
Boog did.
So,
Travis Bohab was in.
Travis Bohab was here. Thank you guys for all being in the chat like you are every week. I am the Rit. That is the Butt. And that's Dong Wong. And guys, we will see you next time on Front Row Material.